Hey everybody, today we are going to do a video going to be about what we got to go through to get stuff ready for winter. Behind me is my 2016 F350 four-door short box. This is my main plow truck, the one I like driving. So most of the time this is what I'm in. This is also the one we keep the sander on. But I want to show this time of year we bring the trucks in and clean them up. This one here, I took the mud flaps off this spring, you know, when I had to touch up the fenders. I mean, that's probably the worst rust on the truck. But I rinsed the frame off pretty good this time. We are going to re-oil undercoat everything. But I take a little bit of wheel acid to the wheels, I clean it up. I clean the frame up pretty good back here. This truck needs steering link and a couple small things in the front end. I believe I'll be putting brake pads on it. Like I said, I normally go through them pretty good before plow season because this is going to have a plow once it's hanging on it this year. I also noticed power washing it today that these fenders are getting kind of peeling all the way up around. But I also cleaned the engine compartment out. Overall, it looks pretty good still. Them are all factory brake lines, but I've never oiled. When I first bought, I bought this, I think used with under 20,000 on it. I know that. And I started oil. I believe it was a foreman's truck. It never really got used as a truck. But same thing on the driver's side. A little bit on the inside of the doors, but overall, frame's in pretty good shape still. I normally take the brake hardware out and re-grease it so I've got all the slides, because normally winter is what takes the Ford calipers out. The super springs I put in, I think of last year. That hardware that was anodized or powder coated is almost a waste of time in New England with salt, but we'll oil undercoat everything when we're done. I just want to get it clean because I got to bring it in, touch up the paint, but I figured I'd do a quick view. I also got on a creeper and got underneath because the Ford rocker panels have elongated holes in them and the factory undercoat starts peeling, so I'm going to peel all that off before I oil undercoat it again, and then like I said, the engine compartment. But everything we can get to with New Hampshire oil will get oiled again. We took the inner fender wells out to do the manifolds in the springtime. My son-in-law did it, and while he had those out, we sprayed everything we could. We cleaned it up then to do what he had to do. But so the truck, overall this truck's been good, and it's still a solid truck, and this is my main plow truck. I don't like plow. You'll see me plow a lot with the dump truck as far as dirt roads, but parking lots I just soon use this. And this is just the main plow truck we have because it's got the sander on it and it normally got at least one snowblower on it. I'm normally fighting to do this type of stuff, but this year we're getting them in, you know, I wouldn't say early, but we're getting them in. But we're going to come in, we bring them in, do oil undercoating, check the brakes, you know, whatever's going on with issues. Last year, right before winter, the manifolds on this weren't looking real good, and I wanted to get them changed out while you could still get a hold of the bolts, and before they got any. I didn't have any leaks. Probably could have got another year or two out of them, but I just thought it'd be a good idea to change them out. So we took the inner fender wells out, and we did that. The transmission lines, I think last year. This year, our plan is to do power steering lines, oil pan, not the oil pan. The oil pan's got a little rusty spot on it, but something I can clean up, and then I'm going to oil undercoat it. But the transmission pan looks like it got hit at one time, and when it did, it took the galvanized coating off, so it had a pretty hard rust spot on it. So we're going to be changing that out. And like I said, we're just going to clean it up. There's some inner rocker panels I normally spray with oil undercoat. The original undercoat from Ford started peeling off, so I just laid underneath it, power washing it and getting it cleaned up. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but I'm going to bring it in. The front fenders are rusty. That's about the only rust on it. Inside the doors, I got some stuff peeling. It's like a galvanized coating, and the paint's starting to peel off when I took the rubber seal off. So I want to touch up the paint, oil undercoat it, we'll check the brakes or whatever else. I'm gonna go through it, get it ready for winter, but I just thought it'd be a cool video. A lot of people ask me about other aspects of this business, and this is one of the things you do. And I hate working on my equipment once winter's here. I mean, I don't like bringing stuff back in. Once the sand is on this, it's kind of heavy to put on this lift. I'd have to use my other lift in the front garage, or my son-in-law's lift is a real heavy duty one. So I just soon get everything done, and this video will show what we got to do to get the truck ready. We're going to put the sander on, get the plow on, check everything out, but that will all be in this one video. I just figured we'd do an intro, and I'll show you some of the issues. I mean, that's nothing. It's surface rust. We'll clean it up, paint it. Over here is the same way, about same on this fender, but it's just the front fenders, and I got a couple spots on the inside of the doors. Other than that, this truck's still in pretty good shape. It's been a plow truck since I've owned it. I did buy it when it was I don't even think it was a year old. I bought it. It had well under 20,000 on it. It's got over 100 now. But stuff like this mirror, very pricey mirror because that's heated and it has the temperature stuff in it, power. But I got a little too close to a tree. I believe I did that last year. I slid off the road doing a camp road or a driveway or something. I got into a tree, so I'm going to fix that. I was going to replace it, but those mirrors are crazy price, so I'm just going to repair. I believe I can plastic weld that so that it's going to be good enough. Put new windshield wipers on it, all new fluids, check the brake pads. I normally have a winter set of tires I put on this, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to start running my aluminums. But I've always taken these aluminum rims off and put steelies on in the winter with a better snow tire. But these tires here, I have pretty good luck with them, Firestones. So probably been one of my better truck tires as far as hauling loads. They're Load Range E. They're Transforce, if someone's wondering. But I haul my trailers, which when you're hauling your Mini, I've actually had tires, my rear tires will actually start getting bubbles in them from pulling the weight. So like I said, I've had good luck with these, if anybody's wondering. But we're gonna give it a quick buffing, wax it, and then we'll start dealing with touching up the paint. Like I said, I'm not gonna get crazy. It's a work truck, but I'm gonna try to keep this. I like driving it. It's just something about that. This is a 16, and it actually aggravates me. Like, Ford stopped making the 6.2 gas, and I've had nothing but good luck with them. Power wise and everything, I don't know why anybody would want anymore. I've had V10s, don't get me wrong, I love the power of the V10s I've had. My son-in-law's truck that he drives all times is a 350 with the 7.3 gas, which is probably going to be in my next truck. But overall, this does what it's got to do every day. I'm not a big diesel fan. I think everybody's diesel has issues, and I don't go anywhere. I stay within my town. I'm normally working 8 miles from my house, so that's why I stick with the gas jobs. The new diesels just get plugged up when you're not running them long distance. I really don't care what everybody can have their opinion about that, but Ford, Chevy, and Dodge all have issues with the emissions. You know, they don't like doing short trips, and that's all I do. So, but that's why I stick with these. But we're gonna go through it, and that will be the video. Quick shot, buffing this out, getting it ready to do the paint work. I just want to show on this part of the hood, it cleaned right up. I was nervous because I worked on a job where the guy has a blueberry field across the street. Like it's a major field, like acres of blueberries, and when the birds crap, it's normally the blueberries. And I mowed his, bush hogged his field. I bush hogged the field for one of his neighbors across the street, and that my truck got plastered, and that, you know, 3 or 4 hours I was there mowing. But there were spots on this hood I thought were gonna actually etched into the paint. I couldn't get it cleaned off that day, but I did buff it with the Perfect It rubbing compound from 3M, and then I tried this Scratch Doctor stuff. I went with this first, then over with this, and then I put this on. I did everything with a wool pad, other than the cleaner wax I put on with this foam pad with a small, I think that's considered a 6-inch foam pad. But I just want to let people know, I mean, this is why I think white is the way to go with company trucks. It's easy to letter and have a contrast. It looks good. That's been a plow truck all its life. This thing gets blasted with salt, sand, it's on the road during the worst times. So this truck just gets beat, and this paint always comes back to life. And this will be the first year I'm touching up the paint as far as doing paint work. I think I've dabbed some scratches in with a matchstick a couple years ago when I buffed it, but I just want to show people this hood, like this thing comes back to life. It matches well when you do got to do paint work on them. I also buffed, I used that Scratch Doctor on my headlights, and like I said, these are 2016, all the original headlights still in it. And it brought those, I don't know if you can see it, I'm hoping the camera shows it, but it pretty much brought them, they were just, I wouldn't say they were yellowing, but they were fading, they were discoloring. These, I'm a landscape company, but when I do these automotive videos or how I fix my own equipment, my daughter edits my videos. I try to make it easy for her to edit, but she always says, oh, the automotive ones don't do that well. But I think later on, once, I hope my channel takes off, and when I do, I think people will like that I do my own stuff. And I have had a few comments, people like that I show the products that I use, so I'm always going to do this when I do these videos. And I hate to say it, but this is part of running a business. I don't send my trucks out to anybody else. If I don't do the mechanical work, my son-in-law does. I want to know what gets done to my truck, and I want to know it's done right. And I've done my own work since I've started. I started this business with a 79 F350 two-wheel drive, and I restored it, made it look good. We got it buffed out, and I cleaned the glass up, and I'm going to do another, I guess you call it a shout out, but it's a product I've used for a long time and I've had good luck with. But all my plow trucks either have the Rain-X de-icer. It's good for -30, and then I do the summertime, this is what I normally run. That's -20. But I've never had that freeze up, but this is good for 10 degrees lower. Another product that I've always used is Glass Cleaner Plus Rain Repellent. You can tell that's an older bottle. Had good luck with them. Another product, the washer fluid additive. That makes a big difference. That one jug is good for 4 gallons, but even though I'm using Rain-X products, I've always put that in. And it's like you don't have to run your windshield wipers, but I just wanted to show the glass cleans up pretty good on this truck, considering it's a plow truck. The windshield and driver's window is getting pretty beat up. They just get scratched because I'm on the road when all the salt sand's going out, my windshield wipers grinded in, and I'm putting that side window up and down. So that side glass in here is, I'll show you, it's got some pretty good, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but you got some pretty good streaks that go up and down, just the gravel that gets stuck in that molding all winter. And the windshield is just probably going to get one more season out of it, and I'm going to have to change it just because it's so scratched up. They've got this glass cleaner, which I think is just a spray can. It says it does different stuff, but I think it's the same as that other stuff. The only other thing I found was this water repellent for glass. Sprays on, wipes off, no buffing. It does seem to go on pretty good. I also did my headlights. Like I said, them cleaned up pretty good today, buffing them. Seemed like I put this on my wife's vehicle a couple weeks ago, rained the next day, and it's kind of a weird thing, but you really don't have to run your windshield wipers unless it's really raining. It just beads it and ships it. So, especially if you're doing any speed at all. But I just figured I'd do, I'm going to show products that have done well with me. I plowed, like I said, I've been in this business now, as of this coming August will be 25 years. I've plowed most of it. I would say I've been using this Rain-X stuff for 6 or 7 years now. It's products that do well. I'm going to mention them during my videos. Just want to show that did feather out pretty good, a little better than I thought it was gonna, but I got the rust off on both sides. The same. This side's probably a little bit worse, but I just wanted to get it protected before winter gets here. Yeah, I just used a piece of cardboard to protect the inner fender well, but I threw some primer on that on both sides, and we'll let that dry out. Like I said, I'm not going to get crazy with this, but I want to get the rust kept care of, and there's some stuff on the inside of the doors we'll be doing. Real quick, I just want to show, I normally take the brakes apart, all the slides and stuff, make sure everything's greased. Most of the time I put new brake pads on, and if the hardware's sticky at all, I get new hardware. Normally on the Fords, what you'll have is this rubber boot will rip. These seem to be in pretty good shape. So I lubed everything up, but I don't know if you can see in my hand, but those little crusty pieces normally are on this outside. You just take a flat bar and scrape those off. I normally spray bomb everything. This is going to get oil undercoated, but another thing I do as a precaution, you spray bomb everything, and then this flat, I normally just take 80 grit on my little thing and buzz it clean. I clean it with lacquer thinner, but so the new brake pads don't get glazed real quick from the black paint. You just clean up the flats on this. Trying to think, another thing, what I normally do is, you can see around here where the aluminum wheel sits, so it doesn't stick on from all the salt and crap that corrodes them in the winter. I normally spray New Hampshire Undercoat to clear. I don't know if you can see that, but I just do around that so when the aluminum wheel goes back on. But like I said, these are little things I do, and that you won't have a caliper stick. I had an 04 that, like, the brake caliper is stuck on it. That was about the only problem I ever had with that truck. I had awesome luck with it, but the rear brake calipers would always, the salt would get in somewhere it shouldn't, and they would stick. So now what I do is, before winter gets here, I normally take the trucks apart, and this little bit, like I said, you think it's a waste of time, but it's really not, because everything will come apart better. All the hardware's greased real good. And like I said, you throw new brake pads on, you're good for the winter. Just don't like working on trucks in the middle of the winter. Once plow season starts, I don't want any issues, even small issues. Another thing I'll show you is, like, the brake lines up here. That's the original brake lines from 2016, but I wire brush them everywhere I can get at them. I spray bomb them with a black spray can, and now I'll oil undercoat this, and I just don't have issues. Like years ago, I used to have brake lines going all the time. I did put new tranny lines on this last year. We just put a new transmission pan on it because it had a good dent in it, and where the dent was rusted pretty hard. So we just decided to change it out. They had it right in stock at the Ford garage. There's one spot on my oil pan I don't like the looks of. Same thing, it looks like something went up and whacked it, but I'm going to clean that up, spray bomb it, and then oil undercoat that. But I just wanted to show you, little things we're doing in the video. Did the same thing with the rear brakes. Clean everything up. This is a company called Super Spring, and these were anodized, and anodized, it just doesn't work with the salt we have. That, and this truck just gets plastered. I mean, it's on the road in the worst times it could be. So I clean everything up with a wire brush, same thing. I clean that with lacquer thinner. I'm gonna hit it with that little 80 grit DA. All the brake hardware is lubed up, new brake pads. But I just figured I'm gonna show you what I do, and I really don't have issues anymore. It's worth taking a couple days, bringing your truck in, going through it. Like, I'm gonna touch the paint up on the fenders and all that. This truck will be in pretty good shape. I think I said earlier in the video, I was gonna replace this, but they're big bucks. So, because this has got the heated mirror, temperature thing in it, and all that crap. Everything still works. It's just I smacked into something last year with it. I want to get it protected before winter gets here, so we'll come up with something. I just want to take a quick shot of it. I'm gonna make up a couple pieces of plastic that will fit in there. Maybe even plastic. I got a plastic welder. I might try that, and then try to do something that matches that texture with body filler. I don't know, we'll see. Probably gonna get beat up on YouTube for doing this, but I use the Bondo glass to plug the initial hole. I took a piece of plastic and slid it in there. Just cut it out with snips. It was actually just a piece of fiberglass, but I stuck it in there to plug the initial hole, sealed it a little bit with some sealers I have, and then I'm going to give it a coat of this. Once that dries, I'll sand it down. And I think it's going to work out pretty good because you've got these body lines that I can tape off to. So I'm just, but it's better than having a hole filled with ice and break that mirror this winter. We just put the second coat on, let that dry, and see if I can sand that out somewhat smooth. I don't like how beat up the inside of this fender was. I didn't think I had touched this truck up before, but I did touch these up. I was thinking, maybe I'll load a set of flares, because the truck I had the longest for my company was an 04, and I put flares on it. Then I put a flatbed, and I kept the flares on the front, and it does make a big difference. So I had I used to buy and sell a lot of that, the 99 to like 06, 07 Fords, and I had a lot of parts, so some of them I stripped out, but I had these flares off one of those trucks, which seemed to be a lot different, but I put one up, and I was actually surprised how well they fit. They're a little long on the front, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the front so that it fits better, and I think I'm going to be able to make them work. I thought it was kind of cool. So, but that's the difference, like the 04, 99 to 04, 06, whatever it is, had the longer tier in the front with a bumper change on the 16, which I think this body style is 11 or 12 and up, but I just figured I'd show that. So I'm going to do the paint work, and then I'm going to put the flares on it. So I cut this end of the flare straight, then I had to trim this so that it fits this body line because it was getting tight here. So I want to trim this so that it fits in there. This sticks out a little bit, but I'm going to heat it. I think I can roll it in and roll this little piece in. Back here is the same way. This body line need about 3/4 of an inch, so I'm going to trim this down to that bottom line and just sweep it out. This will be fine, but then that top body line will match. But rather than I can buy flares for it. They're like $326. I got these. I think the truck's in here anyways, and I'm messing around with some other stuff with it. I'm just going to try to cut that and make these fit. I just want to show I've got that flare to fit. I trimmed this along that body line so it looks better. I don't mind here. I just kind of like rolled it out and it fits tight there. I'm going to take it off now so I can paint the fender. That will tuck in after, but like I said, I think this is going to work pretty good. This is what they look like. Like I said, you end up cutting, you cut that much of the flare off because that's how much difference the fronts were on the other year trucks because the bumper was different. And then you kind of like trim little pieces off like that. And like I said, I've just put it on with a pencil and kept marking it, but I'm happy with that, and I'm not out $326, and I don't think anybody's even going to notice unless I told them I customized that to fit. Another thing I'll probably do too is seal that up pretty good when I put it back on. I'm probably going to use like a windshield urethane so that the stuff doesn't get in between there. I've always used a windshield urethane. It's expensive, but it's awesome stuff. And then you ain't got a bunch of stuff that's gonna get down, you know what I mean? Same thing, I'll probably run a little bead on the inside and squish that in. Other than that, these throw right up and they'll rot your fenders right out. Most of the trucks I've put them on over the years, I'm putting them on to hide rust because I don't want to put a fender on a truck. And the trucks will get rusty here. You put a flare on. 90% of trucks you see with flare kits on them, it's because the thing started rotting, especially work trucks. But like this truck here, I'm looking to get another 3 or 4 years out of it. I like keeping my stuff looking fairly good, and that I'm happy with that. I think you'll find it will look pretty good once it's all done. So I'm going to take it apart, do the other side. I'm going to make that other flare fit, and then I'm going to do the paint prep, get it painted today, and then I'll put everything back together tomorrow. And other than that, this truck's pretty much ready to go. Once plow season starts, which it snowed today for the first time, I want the sander on this over the weekend. I want this ready to go Monday morning. And this is a truck, once I put the plow and sander on it, it's gonna stay outfitted until spring. I've got other vehicles to drive, and same with my dump truck this year. I'm just gonna get them, you know, plow ready and go with it. I've got enough. I got a personal truck now. There's no reason to take the plows on and off. If there's nothing in this shop, I'm probably going to leave this one right in here once the sander's on it. That way I don't have to worry about emptying the sander every time. Same thing with that. Once you have a sander freeze on you, once you stick it in this garage for 3 days to get it to thaw out, you'll never do it again. Just a quick shot of my mirror I wanted to do. Looks better. It's better than having a hole in it. That would have filled and froze and probably messed up the internals because that's all electric. But I sealed it up. I painted it with a chip guard. Duplicolor chip guard from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Seemed to match that texture of the I'm happy with it. So like I said, overall, and that was a very expensive mirror to replace. Everything still worked. It was just I hit a limb when it was cold and it cracked, and one piece fell out, the other piece cracked and kind of fell in. But I just figured I'd take a quick shot. The flares are on. I trimmed them up so they look pretty good. Put a couple nut certs on that fender so that that mud flap's on there good and rugged. The day after a storm, the slush builds up and normally rips the factory screws out. So at this point, what we've done, touched up the paint, fixed the mirror, put the flares on, front and rear brakes, transmission pan, and a steering link. And it seems to be in pretty good shape at this point. So now we're gonna throw it back up and oil undercoat it, and then we'll go outside. Actually, I think I'm gonna roll it out and put the sander on first, get that wired before the oil gets all over everything. So we'll probably put the sander on next, then bring it back in. Get the sander on, plugged in, everything's working. I sprayed the chain and stuff with New Hampshire oil last year, so that everything seems to be good. Touched up the frame, painted the oil pan. That cleaned up pretty good. Put the flares on. Like I said, I made these fit. They were from 04, but we made it work. New front and rear brake pads, transmission pan, power steering lines, and a steering link. And everything, that's in good shape for the winter now. But it cleaned up pretty good. I'm gonna send it up my son-in-law now, and I'm gonna add a couple strobes up on that headboard facing forward, because when the plow's up, the only ones I got are on the grill, and they really don't show. And I'm hoping to keep it as a plow truck for the next probably 3 to 4 years. Even if I buy another pickup for the company, I don't really want to stop plowing with it season one. I'm going to run this till it's be a good truck for someone else. I mean, when I first started, I had some, I don't know, I don't want to call them wrecks because I always went through them, but it's gonna be a good plow truck for someone for a lot longer. But for my company, I think I'm gonna try to get 3 or 4 more years. It's a 16. I feel it already owes me nothing, even though I've had to throw some money at it this year. The dump truck doesn't need a lot mechanically or anything like that. Basically needs an oil change. We will check the front end out real good, grease everything. But the thing I want to do before we get plowing with it, I want to clean up the dump body. I've let this get pretty bad. I didn't have a chance to do it last fall or this spring, so it needs to, you know, it's starting to peel, beat up a little bit here and there. I did paint this, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago when I put the cabin chassis together. This was a used body then, pretty clean, but paint's peeling. I did sand it. It doesn't even, you wouldn't even know that, but it's peeling off that original paint that was there. But I mean, it's had some rocks bang again. I ain't too worried about it, but I'm gonna clean it up, get that painted black. I don't think I'm gonna get real crazy with it because I do want to put a new body. Like I said, this was a used body I put on this truck, and it's power up and not power down, and I want to get one that's power up, power down. And this body, for whatever reason, is so slow coming down. And I've done everything. We've greased it, checked the fit. It's just the type of pump it is. It doesn't sound like much to most people, but if you're delivering 15-20 loads in a day and you're waiting 5 minutes for that bed to come down, and a lot of times I'm in a rush, so it's like it irritates you. I want to get this cleaned up. We're gonna oil undercoat it. I power washed big time this weekend. I power washed it twice. Get all the old oil undercoat off. This one's, like I said, it's in pretty good shape. So it's a 19 truck, so it's not real old anyways, but we'll get everything oil undercoated again. I gave it a quick buff this morning. It was pretty clean anyways from replacing the fender a few months ago. So it didn't take much to get it cleaned up. But I'm gonna cover the whole cab with plastic and we'll go from there. Starting to grind on it over here, and we'll get it knocked back. And like I said, there's a lot of just surface rust. There's a couple pinholes I found here and there. Like I said, I'm not getting overly concerned with it. I just want to get it knocked down and get it flat. I'm probably going to use some type of chip guard on it. But like I said, these things that dinged out when you drop a boulder inside and it hits, I'm going to try to hit them back in, get it sanded out smooth. I don't think I'm going to do much body work to it. There's a couple good dents I might try to fix. But overall, it's just I want to get the scale and rust. It'll look better. It's worth doing. It slows the rust down. But the underneath of this dump body shows its age way more than the top. The underneath of this, when I put it on, looked like brand new, and then it's like starting to peel here and there, right to the bare metal. So I'm just going to try to get it cleaned up. I may end up running this for 2 more seasons. We'll see. I just want to show, when you see a dump body that looks real good, once it looks like this, it ain't easy to make them look pretty again. I mean, that's, even when you get all that rust kept care of, it's pitted. The side of this body, I got one bad spot there. Most of the, couple, small areas, but this other side came apart and was pitted. But, I don't think anybody appreciates what you got to go through. Like, I don't like when someone sandblasts something and then you still see all the pitted areas where the rust was real bad. But to make this look smooth again, I want this to look decent for a couple years. I want to do it now, and I probably won't do it again, and then I'll be replacing it with a newer one. But like this back tailgate is just beat to death down on the bottom. I'm going to try to get this as smooth as I can. I'm going to use a wrinkle finish like chip guard on it and then paint it black, but I still want it to look somewhat straight. But like all those grinding marks, I'm going to probably be coating that with some polyester Bondo. Again, you can't go thick because it's going to chip easy when you drop a rock on it. It's when you realize too, I load this truck most of the time from the driver's side, because this side of the bed was beat compared to the other one. I had a lot of chips that I had to sand out. This was painted once when I got it, even though it was a fairly new bed, and I painted it once real heavy, so I'm sanding through most of that today. But you look at the floor, it's gross in here, just from that little bit of, I just want to explain to people, this is part of running a business. I think some guys just hire this stuff all out. I don't. I fix most of my equipment, but this isn't a 5-minute. I'm going to probably have this in my shop 4 days to make this body look decent. And go through. There's a couple lights that ain't working, or they work, but you hit a bump, they go, I got to figure out what's up. It's probably just a bad connection. But like around that step, around the gas tank, just nasty. But this is what vehicles in any state where they use salt and calcium, this is what you get in a few years. It really doesn't take long. But I just figured I'd take a shot where we're at and explain what we're doing. And it's not, I don't do a lot of this anymore. I used to do a lot of this on the side, but I forget how much work it is to make something look decent again. So I just want to show how difficult it really is cleaning these up to get in all the cracks and crevices. But I have a needle scaler I use, and I use this on a lot of stuff, but this cleans up a lot of the tight areas. Other than that, I'm using offset grinders with different size, 36 grit, but I don't think anybody ever appreciates when someone does an old dump body like this, cleans it up, and it looks decent. Like a lot of people would sandblast this and you'd end up with the pits, and they paint it because they just care about stopping the rust. But if you're gonna do it, you gotta grind it a little smooth. I am gonna leave the dings in it. I'm just gonna feather edge around them a little bit. But there's some of it I've actually used body filler on, and I'm gonna continue doing that because I'm gonna put one more coat on that, and you'll see the inner areas. This will look, I'm not gonna say new, but it's gonna look better than if you just sandblasted and painted it. I just figured I'd show some of the tools I'm using, and this side here isn't nearly as beat up. This here I ground into when I cut the bolts off to get the boards out earlier this year. But I'm going to try to smooth that up with some body filler. And I'm a guy, I just think the cleaner your equipment looks, the less you get hassled by DOT. Just looks more professional when you're sitting on the side of the road and someone's, I get a lot of business basically off the number being on the side of your truck or trailer. It's like a free billboard. I got the side of this done all around the bottom corners, around the gas tank filler. Cleaned it up. I did a little bit of body work to it, and I'm just using, this is a 3M product, black rocker chip guard. I had some black sealer. I put some black sealer on it, and then I put a couple good coats of this chip guard on it. But I'm going to let this dry overnight. It will kind of shrink up, won't be quite so wrinkle finish when we're done. but I just figured I'd do a quick shot. I do plan on painting this like a satin finish black. We still got to clean up the inside. There's some pretty good blisters, but I'm supposed to get warmer as the week goes on, so I'm going to back it out in the areas. I'm going to run the bed up here tomorrow. I can run it up 3 or 4 feet before it hits the ceiling. Try to clean up most of the areas, but before I paint it, I'm probably going to paint it outside. Figured I had this all in primer. I think I'm going to chip guard it to see what I think, and I think I'm going to be happy with that look. And that will take a little bit of a beating, rocks chipping off it and stuff like that. I don't know if that's what I used on it the last time I painted it or not. I don't believe I did because it was pretty smooth finish. And then back here I started doing the body work. Like I said, once you clean them up with the wire brush, you know, what I call a whistle wheel, you'll get those pits. So I'm just filling in enough. Tailgate's gonna have some pretty good dents in it, but I'm not too worried about it. This side I'm gonna do tomorrow. Well, I'm showing this because I want people to know this ain't an easy task. So I just want to show the mess from cleaning up. A lot of stuff came off that. I got it to where I'm happy with it. That's all chip guarded with the 3M black chip guard. I want to let that dry probably half hour, 40 minutes. I did a coat 2 days ago on this side, the other, and then I just cleaned it up a little bit today. It ain't perfect, but it's never going to be. But that slows the rust down. That's all you do in New England. I don't care. I could have took a week and sandblasted every bit of that, painted it, and winter starting, the calcium's going to get in. Like I said, underneath of it, I'm not even going to, the side that shows on the frame, I'm going to clean up a little bit when I oil undercoat it. But other than that, I'm not even going to worry about the base of it. The inside of the body's getting pretty, I haul a lot of rock, so I'm not going to get too concerned about it. I'm going to probably DA the top of that headboard just from the screen up, paint that just so it looks decent. And then what I did over here is I went and got some 2x10s this morning. And I was going to use rough cut because I got sawmill, but I wanted something that was kiln dried already and I could paint with this black, flat black exterior latex. And I think it'll look a lot nicer. About it for that. We'll let that dry. I'm going to pull it in. I'm going to let it dry out here because it's in the 50s. And then tonight I'll pull it in so it doesn't get the dew on it tonight. That might leave water spots, but overall I'm happy with that. I believe that will take a little bit of a beating. I would have liked to have seen it be a little bit smoother, but that's I think it's PCC commercial coating, and it does come with a hardener and a thinner. I found I didn't have to thin it. It was already like water, so I just put the hardener to it. Because what I was bailing it on, I didn't want it running to the floor. So, but I'm happy with it. It's better than having the rusty crap all over it and the ding sticking out. And like I said, once that shine knocks off a month from now, that will look like it. I think it will look actually better. I painted those black, double wet coat black on both sides, all the edges. So I'll put that on. And I've always had the guy that does the lettering. My daughter does some, but the guy that does most of my lettering did the other boards that I busted apart over the summer. And the plastic broke with it, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I may actually, I got an 8-foot trailer, a 10-foot trailer up there that's got some on the sideboards. I might take them off and put them on this. See if they're going to match up good. I've still got to clean the truck up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's nothing stuck to the paint but like the dust bit in there. So I want to show the bed at this point. It's still kind of sticky this morning. I did shut the heat off because it was like 50 yesterday. I wish I would have left it on, and then when I pulled it back in, it would have, because it got cold last night. But I got the boards put on. Thinking about on the inside too, this lip's pretty flat. I might add one. These break easy. If you hit them by accident, these will break easy because they push in. I think I might actually drill a piece of angle iron in so that that doesn't pull in. And or I'll actually drill the wood, bolt it to a piece of angle iron, and screw that angle iron down into the bed. That's a $20 board now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go look at one of my smaller trailers. It's got that plastic board that I got from, this used to have them on it, but they cracked too. One of them cracked, one of them didn't, but they were getting faded and beat up. But I think the trailer, my 8 or 10, I think it's a 10-foot trailer. I believe will fit these boards, and I'd rather have this truck let it up than the trailer. This is on the road a lot more. So we took that off. I just wiped it off with some window cleaner, but kind of faded, but it kind of looks good with the flat black board. I did have to cut the mulch off. That was a 10-foot trailer, so I just couldn't get it to fit in there, but it still works. And like I said, I thought that looked good when we did it, so when they broke off I was kind of frustrated. And I won't lie to you, I'm learning things about like lettering your trucks I would have never guessed, but so many people will, your landscape company, then they don't realize you deliver sand, loam, gravel, and you wouldn't believe the people that still are like, well, can you get stone, you know, stone? And I carry all the, any type of landscape material I carry, mulches and everything. I think that makes a big difference, having that signage up there. It breaks up that body. Better than just having a board sitting there, and it's free advertisement when you look at it that way. So, but pretty cool. I'm happy with it. It's going up my son-in-law's garage up the road, because neither one of my lifts will lift this truck. His will, to do the oil undercoating. So I'm gonna let him do it. But I just gave it a quick hand wax. I buffed it the other day before I cleaned the body up. Like I said, I'm pretty happy. It's ready for the winter once he gets it oil undercoated. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have him do an oil change to it while he's got it up there. So get it oil undercoated, and this one's ready to go. Put the plow on it. I believe we're gonna change the filter and oil in the plow, but he's gonna finish this up this weekend for me. Trucks are done. The pre-season checkout is all done on both trucks. The only thing this ended up needing was the fluid and filter in the plow. Other than that, the truck was in good shape, so we just had to oil undercoat that one, which was nice. This one we had to use once already to plow with, because we keep getting storms that are like a few inches but then melt off in a couple days, so it's hard to tell by looking at the ground now, but we've had to plow with this one once. But this one's all done now. This one needed a pretty good amount of maintenance done to it, but it's a 16, so I'm good with that. This one here, when we put the plow on, I had an issue. The headlight wiring harness had a couple broken wires in it, and rather than chase the problem, I don't like the idea of that, because then another one can break a week later. So I ordered just a headlight wiring harness for this, and that's why the plow's in the shop right now getting that done. But other than that, the trucks, everything worked out good, and we're ready to go for the season. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. I'd like to grow the channel. Thanks.